Hey everyone, Melissa Navia here, and you are watching TrekCulture.
It is the first of our videos breaking down all of the Star Trek news that came out of the Star Trek Universe panel from New York Comic Con 2025. We're going to break it down into the most relevant pieces. So for example, in this video, we're going to focus on Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I'm going to go through the clip that they shared from season 4. Yes, we have new footage to analyze. I'm very happy about that. And go through some of the things that were discussed as part of that panel. We will have another couple of videos as well, so keep an eye out for them on the channel because they're full of fun goodies and stuff. For the Strange New Worlds panel, Alex Kurtzman, Akiva Goldsman, and Henry Alonso Myers were joined by Ethan Peck, Celia Rose Gooding, Melissa Navia, and Martin Quinn. They were there to talk primarily about their journey thus far. And for the actors, at least, their perspectives were very much focusing on sort of season 3, what we've seen, and they were very close-lipped about what to expect from season 4 and season 5, which they're currently filming. In fact, Akiva Goldsman, at one point, there was a little bit of, I think, a tongue-in-cheek moment, but I'm going to put an asterisk beside that. And I'm also going to pause right there because I know you're like, Sean, break down the footage, break down the footage. So that's what I'll do. They showed us the opening scene from season 4. We don't know the name of the episode yet. We just know that obviously some period of time has gone by from the finale of season 3. That was one thing they discussed on the panel, was how Pike's trauma is probably going to impact his story going forward. You know, the last thing we saw, as they said themselves, cribbed liberally from the inner light, is that he lost Batel because she has to be a statue somewhere for a few thousand years. Listen, everyone needs a hobby, but that means that Pike is still left on board the Enterprise. We're taking a new direction with this season, and this entire scene is about setting up awe and wonder. And it's funny as well because they've clearly, in my opinion, edited the episode together because they lifted it from that opening Star Trek Universe logo that happens before every single episode of every Star Trek since, you know, Discovery. And yeah, it looks like they just got, right, here's the first 4 minutes, enjoy. On board the bridge of the Enterprise, you've got Pike, you've got La'an, you've got Ortegas, you've got Number 1, you've got Uhura, you've got Spock, and you have got a cadet female Vulcan. Come back to her in a moment.
Looking for a VPN? Well, we've got a great deal from Nord. Get 73% off and 3 months extra free. Just click the link in the description down below.
And they are observing a stellar, it looks like a storm, it looks like some sort of big, lovely, beautiful, explosion-y cloud in space. And they're all commenting on just how beautiful, how wonderful it is, and how lucky they are to get to experience this. There's obviously an underlying subtext going on here, because as wonderful as it is, Pike does advise Ortegas, you know, kind of keep us, you know, an arm's length back. And she says, yeah, I'm gonna keep us maybe a couple of arms length back. But he then also says to Una, if you had to give up seeing this as part of your job, would you miss it? And she looks at him and emphatically says, every day. And there is clearly reaction there from Pike. I feel, this is wild speculation, is that there's going to be a time jump between seasons 3 and season 4. And I think we're inching closer and closer to Pike relinquishing command of the Enterprise. We know that Kirk is going to end up in command of the Enterprise. We know that. Pike's journey obviously is going to take him to the Academy as an instructor. On that, they detect a mayday from inside the storm. And they, of course, being the intrepid explorers that they are, set a course to discover what it is. And while they discover that it seems to be a buoy from a ship, I was thinking, hold on, are we seeing a version of the Kobayashi Maru here? Is that why there's this cadet on the bridge? Is it not actually an active mission? And then I thought, well, maybe as the rest of the clip goes, it does look like it's actually happening. And it looks like the ship does fly into the storm, as opposed to, as we know, the Kobayashi Maru tends to take place on star bases, the USS Protostar notwithstanding. I thought for a moment, again, wild speculation, young female Vulcan cadet, are we looking at Saavik? Probably not, but I want to see Saavik again, so I'm going to be hopeful. It is funny as well because as everyone else on the bridge is sort of lost in the awe and wonder, this female Vulcan is like, digital data is, what's the word? Digital data is more relevant. And if that isn't a very Saavik thing to say, it's just fun to see them interacting really, because I'm really there now. This crew is comfortable around each other. You know, you feel that trust on the bridge. They fly into the storm, they discover the buoy, and then the storm is getting a bit too much. So Pike says to Erica, all right, get us out of here. She's already all over it. Fun fact, actually, there was a close-up on her console as we were flying in, and you could see that, you know, she's got warp 6.25 ready to go, but it's just inactive. So, you know, fair play, Erica, being prepared for everything. But in they go, and a big sort of tendril of the storm grabs them, and it effectively flushes them down a wormhole, or whirlpool even, and it fades to black, and there's a little flash, and I was thinking, this is very Wizard of Oz. You know, granted, I've just watched the trailer for Wicked for Good, so that's probably playing into my mind here, but I was like, are we not in Kansas anymore? When we meet up with our crew again, you know, they're talking about how the ship is really running on low power, there's very minimal sensors, and Scotty, lovely to see Martin Quinn back, says that effectively they're out of iridium, so they can't even start the warp engines if they wanted to. Pelia is there as well, nice to see Carol Kane back again, and it all seems to be set up to send number 1 off on a mission to explore a strange new world. Spock says that there's 3 M-class planets nearby, at least one contains iridium. Happy days, that's what they need. So the next thing aboard the shuttle Curie, you've got number 1, Ortegas, and you've got La'an heading down to the planet, and that's where the clip cuts out. I like it because it seems serious. You know, we've spoken about how I think the balance of sort of comedy to drama was, I'm going to say it was off in season 3, but the showrunners themselves have made a point of saying that in season 4, they feel more confident that they hit that balance just that little bit better. And I have seen enough Star Trek at this point to be like, tell me one Star Trek show that didn't have a season, that didn't maybe light our lives on fire. All of them have that kind of thing. All right, I'm saying that, like, in fairness, Lower Decks and Prodigy didn't have that. But, I mean, sure, listen, I'm just saying. I said a tongue-in-cheek statement earlier on. Akiva Goldsman was saying, you know, hang on, which one is season 3? And I do believe he was hamming it up a little bit for the stage, but also, if you see any interviews with any of the cast and crew in recent times, bear in mind, season 3 was filmed 2 years ago. We just got it, but for them, it's been a bit more of a journey, and they're deep into production on season 5. So, he said something about, oh, that was the one with the Vesda. He says, yeah, they were scary. Is that technically a spoiler to say the Vesda aren't coming back? Or is that just a case to be like, oh, we're throwing them off the scent? Obviously, look, we've no way of knowing at this point. The only other footage that was shown was a behind-the-scenes featurette about the beautiful costume design work by costume designer Bernadette Croft, who I had the opportunity to speak to a couple of years ago, and she is so intensely talented at what she does. Any critique that we've had about Strange New Worlds has never been the designs. You know what I mean? Like, it is a beautiful show, and they made sure that we knew that nothing gets bought for Strange New Worlds. Everything is designed and built from the ground up. So I did like that they took the second to address that. If I'm honest, that is something that probably could have been shared online in the way that some of the other behind-the-scenes featurettes have been done, and of course it was after the panel wrapped. I think as well because we were hoping for maybe a trailer for season 4, or even a release date. It just says coming soon. I think we're gonna still hold the hope that it's gonna be next summer, sort of the same as when season 3 aired in 2025, because again, we got the clip from 4.5 Vulcans at New York Comic Con 2024, so it's sort of comparable in terms of time. That is actually it for this video. Okay, so I'm gonna be coming back to you very, very soon with a frame-by-frame breakdown of the brand new trailer for Starfleet Academy, and we might even have another cheeky video with some surprise casting announcements. I will come back to you very, very soon with that, but in the meantime, look after yourselves, live long and prosper, be cool, be awesome, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you're following us on the various socials, and I'll see you very, very soon. Thanks very much.
Fascinating.
Hey nerds, I'm Will Wheaton.
I'm Lawrence Fleckenbill. I'm Wilson Cruz.
Hello, I'm Robert Picardo.
Hi, I'm Mike McMahon.
I'm the now visitor.
Rob Kaczynski.
This is Todd Stashwick.
Jack Quaid.
Gabrielle Ruiz.
Armin Shimmerman.
Jonathan Frakes.
John Billingsley.
Elias Dufexis.
Nicholas Meyer.
Melissa Navia here.
I'm Killian O'Sullivan, and you are watching
TrekCulture.
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 Trek Culture.
TrekCulture.
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 You're watching TrekCulture.
Trek Culture.
How smart you are. Live long and prosper.